Okay, Gemini. Yes, I know. Last week I didn't do Cancer all the way to Pisces. Oh well. Consider you Aries and Taurus lucky that you got like a bit of a test dummy reading. I don't know how else to put it, but yeah. So you guys got privileged. While everybody else is like, "What the heck, man? Why'd you leave us out in the dark?" Well, life happens, okay. So yep, you know the drill. First goddess to come out is the one that's in power and favors you. The next one to come after that is the one you have to seek out. And then the third one that comes out is the one that's telling you, do I have to do this again? I thought you knew this already, but it looks like we're going to have to do it again. I thought you knew it, but don't forget this. And I'm in a bit of a different location, and it's a little bit brighter, but we're just testing the waters. Alright, first one to come out is my mom Bridget for Redemption Power. That's funny because Taurus got that as well. So it looks like you and Taurus are redeeming yourself or redeeming something. You must seek out Persephone for compliance. I can kind of have a general idea where this is going. And then the one you mustn't forget is Fumic for Envy. Oh boy. Okay, well. So for this week at Gemini, having my mom Bridget for Redemption, looks like this week you're going to be redeeming. Looks like probably going to be redeeming your reputation and redeeming the more beneficial standing of your reputation and how you stand in society. Because my mom Bridget being redemption, it's like you're pretty much reviving the side of you that is actually that has a good sense of morals, ethics, and knows how to properly exert themselves in society and as well as on a personal level. But the one you must seek out being Persephone. Now, this is where I kind of don't agree with the word that is prescribed with her. It being compliance, well, depending on what myth of Greek mythology that you go with regarding Persephone, the one where Hades is like, you know what, woman, I want you, I'm kidnapping you, and no one's going to stop me. Or the other one, which is how she went to Hades herself, and she said, oh, I like it here. This is pleasant. I want to stay. And then her mother Demeter was like, Persephone, you need to come back. Nah, I like it here. And Hades is just in the background, just like, I tried. I tried telling her, like, why do you want to be around stuff that's dead? You think it's pleasant here? Okay. Well, if you think it's pleasant, okay, whatever, woman, you're crazy, but fine. And then she was being pushed to try and come back home. Long and behold, what Persephone does is like, you know what? What I'm going to do instead is simple. I'm just going to take a pomegranate seed and just go, now I'm stuck here in Hades with them. Sorry, Demeter. It was like, you're going to just have to deal with it. So, that being said, it being Persephone as the one you must seek out, you might need to learn how to probably work better with others, and that might be the redeeming quality you need. Maybe. Just maybe. Because my mom Bridget and compliance for Persephone, it's telling you you have to be you have to work with another person or a group of people and learn how to negotiate much better. But now having Fumic as the one you mustn't forget for envy. Now, this is saying don't don't forget that you don't have to have every little thing that everybody else has. You have your own unique wants and gifts, and just because something looks nice and fancy and shiny to somebody else doesn't really mean that you need to have it too. Because at the end of the day, you're redeeming yourself and your qualities, and you need to have the experience and the knowledge to learn how to work alongside somebody else, so that way you learn to actually not be envious of what others have and wanting to be on the same level as them, and you're focusing more primarily on yourself. So those are the goddesses: my mom Bridget, Persephone, and Fumuk. I cannot pronounce her name right, but I tried. Go with it. So now, the tarot deck that I'm going to be using for you guys is the same as last week, Tarot Grand Lux. And we'll see what on earth comes out. And for this spread, for this week, I'm going to keep it simple to a simple elemental cross spread and then 3 advice cards. So it's going to be, first one's going to be like 4 pulls, and then the last one is going to be a 3 pull for advice. The first one for Earth, regarding your health, wellness, anything regarding your consumables, wealth, sustainability, your pretty much your everyday mundane life and gains and financial pursuits. We have the King of Pentacles. And having the King of Pentacles as your Earth sector, that shows that you probably might be a guiding figure to somebody regarding their finances, their wealth. You may, for some reason, also consider probably trying to be a little bit more realistic with your spending and try and invest properly rather than be all willy-nilly with your investments. And I don't know why I'm getting this, but for some reason, if you're considering having a dog, it may actually be a ideal time to have a pet companion. Just don't be hunting. Don't be hunting as the King of Pentacles this week, because yeah, you'll be easily detected, because both the animals and the cards are looking right at me. So, regarding your communications, your mental work and your thoughts and your wisdom, intelligence, and how you pretty much communicate with other people. This can be love, family, relationships, what have you, and also your education. We have the Empress. So regarding this sector, you actually might be needing to actually take up nurturing somebody, reaching out to somebody to see how well they're doing, or actually help support somebody in a creative endeavor. You actually also might be starting a new investment in a intellect or wisdom pursuit, like if you're going back to college, if you're going to go to university, or just a new adventure that's regarding some kind of doctorate degree or anything that's higher education. You actually might be starting that this week, or actually nurturing someone who is actually in a higher education field or getting a certification or along those lines. And I'm also getting, again, since we have 2 very grounded Earth cards that popped up, and the whole theme is that so far, if you're thinking about getting a pet of any kind, it is a big confirming to say yes, it's a good time to get a pet companion for yourself. And if you're a hunter, this is not the time to be hunting. Do not hunt. Don't do it. So then for the fire sector, what's going to be motivating you or pretty much bringing you your zest this week, or possibly an obstacle or something you have to combat for this week. We have the Knight of Swords. So this week you're going to be challenged to take the initiative, but also at the same time having control about how fast you're going and how much energy you're exerting into this week. If you're going to put in a lot of energy and a lot of work, just make sure it's being directed in the right direction, because you can have all the energy in the world and then you can go face first off a cliff. And that's not the way you want to exert that energy going off a cliff, because you're going to be having a lot of movement and you're going to be covering a lot of ground. But the thing is, you have to make sure you're exerting it in the right direction and not wasting it by just saying, okay, you know what? I'm just going to jump off this cliff because, things aren't going the route that I want them to go. So here comes the vault off the cliff. And if there's also a figure in your life that's wanting you to move a little bit too hasty, tell them to go stick it because that's not very nice, to be rushed. And you can tell them to hold their pigeons. Because in reality, if somebody's pushing you to move faster and they're the ones that needs it done, why is it your issue if you're taking your time with it to make sure it's right and they want it faster? If they want something done faster, just tell them, you know what? If you want it done faster, why don't you do it then? If you want it done a certain way, you can handle it. Since you know how to handle it, have at it. I know how I'm handling it. It's handling the best way that I can handle it, but if you can do it better, there you go. You can handle it then. Don't be afraid to get a little snappy feisty with someone who thinks they're being all like, oh, I'm the one giving you all the rules and expectations. Okay, let's see you handle it then. Show me how it's done then, Timmy. Because usually that's the best way to actually have someone who thinks their ego's like the best thing in the world. Well, give it a good tragic slip. And kind of tell them that, look, sometimes you don't get to have the whole thing about how something's done. If you think you can have it done a better certain way, okay, let them have it done. Now, regarding the emotional sector, regarding love, romance, and all that cheesy, fantasy, woozy-woo stuff, we have the justice. So regarding love matters this week, there may actually be a karmic event happening to where something that you've invested in a romantic sense is actually going to be balanced out, and whoever and how much you put into it is going to come back out right at you. So if you invested a lot of time, effort, and gave your full 100% to ensure that this interaction and investment between you and somebody else, like in a marriage, relationship, or anything like that, you're going to get the just rewards for your investment. So let's just say you put in your full best effort and you tried the best you could. So we can probably assume that the other person is going to get a good hit upside the head with a, oh, wait a minute. I kind of want this person out because I actually know that they're going to invest their full effort and try their best for between us. So I'm going to go with them. But if you're just sitting there and just picking your nose like, oh, they're not going to leave me. Oh, no, they're not going to leave me, but I'm not going to do anything. They're always going to be there. Well, they're going to get the wake-up call with like, you know what? Well, why the heck am I going to just stick with this, dead weight guy? I'm just going to with them. And that's just how the justice works. It gives you exactly what you put into it. It's blind, and it just tells you how it is. It's not nice, because justice doesn't have any emotions. It's just like, well, that's what it is. You don't like it? Well, you should have done something different. So then the advice for this week. And also, if you're regarding a love matter too, if you're needing to actually become more nurturing with your words and actually supporting somebody and actually making sure they get a message and the understanding that they actually do have security with you, ensure that you actually exert it and be certain that they actually understand that you're a grounded, supporting entity that they can turn to. Because you can say that you're always there, but you have to also provide the security to actually show it, because you can tell anybody anything under the sun, you can make it as fantasy and cheesy full as you wanted. And also regarding like having the redemption and how to work with somebody with the compliance of Persephone and my mom Bridget, possibly this actually might be how you can redeem yourself to somebody else by saying, look, I'm going to try my best to actually provide security and actually show it both on the mundane level and actually speak it to you. And actually, that's how you're going to actually get the idea of not being envious of other people that are in a relationship bond, being like, well, how come all these other people have a nice love life while I'm over here just like, I don't understand why my girlfriend, boyfriend, I don't understand why they're just, throwing hissy fits all the time and just saying, how come you never talk to me? And I don't talk to them. I don't get it. Well, they're telling you what the problem is, so go with it. Go over and fix it. It's not that difficult. It's not that hard to listen. Just an example. That may not be you, or if you're cross-watching, I kind of wish you wouldn't do that, but if you are, well, whoop-de-whoop. Just make sure that you, or if you have a Gemini you're watching, make sure that this message of, kind of putting more effort towards the bond actually is being taken into consideration. Okay. For advice card, we have Judgment. Well, that's the first one. So we have Angel going, wake up, dead people. Making a nice noise. Waking up the dead, and have them come back and try again. Judgment, the holiness, the Pope. And the Three of Cups. Okay. So, best way to put this. Your advice is to understand that right now divinity is testing you to see if you've actually learned this lesson. So, make sure also, since you're being tested right now, part of the test is also showing that you know how to listen to divinity and actually know how to guide somebody. And actually taking that action too, because the only issue with the Hierophant or the Pope is that it's kind of like it's a teaching figure that wants to stand good in society and wants everybody to look at him. So the thing is that if that's your advice for this week, make sure that when you say, hey everybody, I know exactly how to handle this situation. Everybody watch me do it. Okay, well make sure you actually do it the way that it's supposed to do. Because you can be all popo you want and show and tell people this is how divinity wants it, and so do it. But make sure you do it too. Because if you're going to think that you're going to be all slick, knowing that divinity is testing you, make sure you listen. Because if you listen, you'll actually be able to have a nice, sweet little congregation and actually have a celebration between you and this other person with the Three of Cups, because that's a card of celebration. You'll actually be able to celebrate and have a more prosperous interaction with them. But also for some reason too, I don't know why I'm getting this too, but if you think you're slick and you're going to try and go with somebody else, don't fall for it. Don't go for it. Don't do it, because that's another part of divinity testing you to see, okay, you think you really know how to handle a love situation, Mr. Popo? You think you know how to handle it? Okay, let's see what happens when I take that ex you love so much and just throw him back in your life. Let's see how you can handle it. Let's see if you learned your lesson. If you did, good. Then you'll get the just desserts for it. If you haven't, well, again with the just desserts, you'll may go back with the ex, and then you go faceplant again. But before that, you were already with this person possibly already, and they were already giving you so much better than the ex could. But you made the choice to go back with the ex, and now it's going to go faceplant. Or you can resist the temptation and then just stick by nurturing this bond you have already. So be aware of that, and make sure you stop and think and don't go face first into it. So Gemini, that's what I have for you this week, and then I will see you next week.